I want to preface this video by letting you know that much of the lore presented today is information that a player gathers as part of the main story experience of Dragon's Dogma 1. It's not just general background world information. DD2 seems to share a similar story, at least one major facet of it, and that is the story of an Arisen defeating the dragon that took their heart. Learning about what an Arisen is and who this dragon is and why it took your heart is a major part of the DD1 storyline, and everything outside of that is of much less importance. In DD2, Capcom seems to be placing a much greater emphasis on nations, characters, and the stories within, while still keeping the story of an Arisen defeating the dragon at the core of the plot. I'm telling you all of this because some of this lore presented today may reveal some information about DD2 that you would rather have learned about in the game yourself. Personally, I'm considering all of this information from DD1 as general lore at this point, but I'll let you make that decision for yourself. Spoiler warning given. Let's begin. The universe of Dragon's Dogma is comprised of multiple worlds, many of which, if not all of these worlds, being parallel worlds to one another. Dragon's Dogma 2 takes place in a completely different world than Dragon's Dogma 1, but both of these worlds and countless others are part of a greater cycle called the Cycle of Eternal Return, which involves a godly being called the Senechal, a dragon, the Arisen, and their pawns. The Senechal fulfills the role of God and provides volition to its world's inhabitants. It essentially keeps worlds alive with its willpower. If we find any mentions of one called the Maker, worshipped by a religion known as the Faith, the Maker will likely just be a different name for what is ultimately the Senechal. In DD1, other possible deities are mentioned, such as the Old Gods and the Water God, and there are other faiths, but much of this is shrouded in mystery and it could all just lead back to the Senechal. In DD2, we have already learned that the Beastren nation of Batal worships the Lambent Flame, but details on what the Lambent Flame is or entails are not exactly clear yet. The dragon is an emissary of the Senechal, but emissary might not be the best word choice here because the dragon is more of a puppet. The dragon's name in DD1 is Gregory, and he fills a role that was given to him as a punishment rather than a heavenly job position, and this role is to find someone worthy to take the Senechal's place. Gregory was actually a fallen Arisen turned dragon by the Senechal when he failed to defeat the Senechal in battle, which is the ultimate test. When the Senechal grows tired of their godly position and their essence begins to fade, they either create or summon a dragon and send that dragon out to test out the willpower of the peoples of a world, to see who among them is potentially worthy of the shot at becoming the next Senechal. This dragon, however, will terrorize a world while also keeping an eye out for potential Arisen. If the dragon deems one worthy, which in DD1 and 2 seems to be by showing great courage in the face of adversity, the dragon will then take the heart of this chosen one, deeming them as Arisen. The Arisen in both DD1 and 2 is you, the player character. You show great bravery when the dragon attacks your home. The dragon notices this and proceeds to take your heart. This is why you see a scar on your Arisen's chest in the DD2 character creator. When this happens, you are no longer human, you are now Arisen. Arisen do not age, they have immunity to sickness, they have the ability to gain great power, and the dragon can communicate with them. However, it's important to note that Arisen can still die in battle. When a dragon chooses an Arisen, the purpose of the Arisen's life is to then find the dragon, and ultimately defeat the dragon to reclaim their heart to once again become human. They of course must train and power up before attempting this great task. As an Arisen in DD1, you set out on this quest to kill the dragon, but you do so unaware that this ultimately leads to the chance at becoming the actual Senechal, the Arisen's destiny. The only thing you know for the majority of the main story is that you want your heart back. You want revenge on the dragon, which is destroying your world, and you know that you are one of the only few who actually stands a chance at defeating the dragon as an Arisen. Think of the dragon as a demigod in a way. When you do ultimately confront Gregory in DD1, he offers a deal. This deal would sacrifice that which the Arisen holds dear to their heart, in exchange for the dragon leaving and the Arisen gaining all the fame of being a dragon slayer. You will become the king of the land, essentially, and this is actually one of the several endings to DD1. Duke Edmund, the ruler of Grand Soren in DD1, did exactly that. Or the Arisen can fight the dragon, kill the dragon, get their heart back, and save their loved one. This is the choice that must be made to be deemed worthy and a chance of becoming the next Senechal, but it's important to note that the Arisen at this time still does not know anything about this Senechal. The Arisen, however, will not take on this mighty task alone. This is where pawns come into the picture. Pawns are soulless human-like beings whose primary role is to serve Arisen. Although you may be the only Arisen in your world, or one of the few, keep in mind that there's countless parallel worlds out there with other Arisen running around on their quest to defeat the dragon and regain their hearts. Pawns have glowing scars on their hands, and they have no will of their own, and they cannot die. If they are defeated in battle, they simply are returned to a place called the Rift. Being able to share your pawns with other players in this single-player game fits the DD lore, as other players are Arisen in their own parallel worlds, and their pawns can travel through the Rift to aid other Arisen. Although not human, pawns can eventually become human through a process known as bestowal of spirit. Pawns take after their Arisen, and in a way absorb part of their Arisen's soul, making them more and more human over time. It seems probable that for the full process to complete, an Arisen must die and bestow the rest of their spirit upon their pawn. You actually meet a former pawn in DD1 named Celine, who is now human. In the human nation of Vermund in DD2, pawns will be respected. The humans want to see the Arisen and their pawns succeed in the quest to rid the world of this terrifying dragon. This is not the same, however, in the Beastern nation of Batal, as here Arisen and pawns are looked at as a source of misfortune. Batal worships the lambent flame, and they believe that separating themselves from Arisen and pawns is what keeps them safe from the dragon, not aiding Arisen and their pawns. So when a dragon is defeated, what happens? All the Arisen connected to the dragon will lose their immortality, and age will catch up to them. When the dragon is defeated in DD1, a place called the Everfall, which serves as a gateway to the Rift, becomes a bottomless pit which swallows a large part of the capital of Grand Soren. The Arisen and their pawns fall into this pit, but this eventually leads them to opening a portal to a higher plane. And this is where the Arisen is confronted with their destiny, the Senechal. Once again, like with the dragon, players are offered a choice. Fight the Senechal to become a god, or return to your home and live a quiet life. You as the player have the agency to choose the quiet life option, and if you do so, that exact scenario will play out, and the Senechal will continue their search for their next challenger. If you choose to fight the Senechal but lose, it is said that you'll be reborn as the next dragon in service of the Senechal. This is apparently what happened to Grigori. Defeating the Senechal will result in the Arisen taking the Senechal's place, and you are no longer able to interact with the world below. You do learn that the Senechal was the Arisen named Savan who you played as in the prologue of the game. If players decide to use the Senechal's weapon, Godsbane, on themselves, meaning they kill themselves, ending the cycle, their body falls from the sky. When your body washes ashore in your home village, it's not your body anymore. Your main pawn is actually the one to awaken within you. It's quite the twist to an ending. Much of the lore to Dragon's Dogma is unclear, unexplained, and brings up plenty of questions. This eternal cycle of return, however, seems to be at the core of basically everything. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Plenty more DD2 videos to come, including some more lore videos when we finally get to experience DD2 ourselves. And as always, if you enjoy live streams, I'll be live right here on this channel and also my Twitch channel at WolfheartFPS, playing DD2 for way too many hours.